Welcome back to another episode of the NES Experience. I am Dante. We're back with Ned, the main attraction at the NES Experience. I don't know what my role is, but that's okay. What we're going to be talking about today to start the episode is one of my favorite foods. Pizza is near and dear to my heart. I only ate pizza for about 2 weeks. I would tear a piece of pizza slice in half, eat it every 90 minutes. Was advised to do that by one of my basketball coaches. It was the best 2 weeks of my life. Ned, do you want to talk about pizza a little bit?
What sparred the what how the pizza concept came up was we went to see Avery Brown, NES athlete for Columbia, and after the game, of course, I was hanging out with a 15-year-old. I was with Trey, and he was like, "I'm hungry," so we opted to try and go to Bar Pizza in New Haven. Never been to Bar before. I've hit the gauntlet of I've hit most of the heavy hitting pizza joints on the East Coast. Don't get me started bringing up East Coast pizza versus Chicago style. That's a whole nother side rant. But we ended up going to Bar, and yes, I'm with a 15-year-old kid at 10:30 at night after a Yale Columbia game, and we know with Bar, never had it before. I went with the mashed potato bacon pizza. So I got, because that's what they're known for. And then I got a cheese and meatball. So I'm a classical type and then a specialty to the place. It was absolutely amazing, um, to the point where now I have to do more research on it. I went and looked at the Portnoy review and only got like a 7.2, 7.4. And when I tasted it, like I wasn't even really hungry going there, but the physical, I'm taking pictures. When you pull out the phone, and that happens a lot in your Connecticut pizza joints, especially in the New Haven area. I'm taking this picture. This thing looks beautiful, cooked to perfection. It's like 10 o'clock at night. They're about to close. And they roll out this gorgeous, and I had Cam with me, um, and Trey, of course. And we did our own little pizza review, and I thought it was fantastic. So today we're going to rank the top five pizzas, in our opinion, in Connecticut. Not all time in Connecticut. This is Connecticut. And I'd like to keep it to the greater New Haven area, which means the Valley counts and, Fairfield County counts, but we're keeping it to that area. I don't want to hear about some shit in Mystic or whatever. So, top five. I'm going to go first. The reason why it was four and I switched to five was because this was on your list when you sent it to me. And I was like, yep, I like that one too. So Roseland and Derby, number five. You?
Yeah, so my number five would be McGowan's Pizza. It's not McGowan's anymore. Name has changed, but it's my hometown pizza. So a little hometown bias there. But great thin crust, really great. Obviously, everything Connecticut, New Haven style. Like that's what it's all about. And yeah, just they had a little arcade game. You could play like Mortal Kombat and stuff like that while you'd wait to like get your pickup pizza, because pickup pizza, was a thing. And yeah, just a really great pie. So uh
Just pause, pause. We can't record.
and we're back after some audio technical difficulties of which we had no control over, but have corrected. Ned, do you want to give me your number four ranked pizza place?
Dante, do you want to explain what the audio difficulty was?
I can't actually explain it. It seemed to be on your end.
The audio difficulty was Lexi needed ice. So Mila was going out and pulling out each individual ice cube, dropping that individually into the glass with the most steroided up microphone that can hear phone conversations. I can hear conversations in their room with both doors shut louder than if I don't have these headphones on. Anyways, these headphones have go gadget ears. With that being said, that was the technical difficulty, but we're back on track into the next fight. So we're going to go on to number four. My number four used to be my number one, But since I have been trying to catch up on New Haven style pizzas, I feel like this one dropped. My opinion is biased because they are a chain now and they're pumping out a lot of locations. So my palate is getting confused because the Pepe's in New Haven 10 years ago was fantastic. And the problem is now I've had it at the casino, which is 3 levels down. I've had it in Fairfield, which is 1 level down. But I learned that if you say New Haven style, they cook it crispier. And then it's closer to what you're getting from the original place. So I'm putting the original place at 4. And part of the reason why I have them dropping down is because I feel like that you don't stop trying to have too many locations. You're watering down your product. Your number 4?
Uh, I will say number 4, Colony Grill. Uh, the original location, the one in Fairfield from time to time, does not pump out the quality. Another case of it. Although I will say, I don't. I think the Fairfield one, exactly what you said, is probably the second best of all the Peppies. So you have New Haven and Fairfield, and those are clearly number 1 and number 2, and they were open number 1 and number 2. So those are the two spots to go there. I had one in Boston, also pretty great. But for me, number 4, Colony Grill. Hot oil pizza, that's what they're known for. I've gotten it a couple of times. It's pretty hot, but it's delicious. Even the regular cheese, everything there, just great. Greasy pizza, love it.
Colony Grill is on my 2 pizza places that I have not tried yet that could possibly make this list. Number 3, which would be Bar, uh, jumped up in front of Pepe's and catapulted into, because I love Roseland, catapulted into the 3 position. I like the cracker crust. It's burnt, but I don't like a lot of black char. I like a little bit. I like a nice, easily digestible crust, and I don't think it gets enough credit. It was fantastic. That's my number 3. Yours?
Yeah, my number 3, we are going. So I have my top 3 rotate constantly pretty much, but they're all, so it's like 1A, B, C. But top 3, number 3, we are going for Sally's. Right next to the original Pepe's. It's pretty much the same recipe, pretty much the same family, pretty much the same fucking thing. But Sally's, absolutely great. Line's always a little bit less long, so huge fan. Just a great place.
Moving on to number 2, and my number 2 is Sally's. I went there with Drew, PTSM affiliate. Shout out Drew Gallagher. He should be listening to this, but he's too busy and he probably isn't. Oh, yeah, went there with him, and then I went 2 times, and both times they're not busy. Good pie. I do think once you work in, like when I went to Pepe's, I'm waiting an hour in line, and that's part of the reason why. If I'm waiting an hour in line, I'm fine with waiting a little bit, but you better bring it if you're going to have me wait that long. So I have Sally's as my number 2, and then I have a feeling I know what your number 2 is going to be.
My number 2 is Roselands, and it's so my order at Roselands feeds me for about a fucking week. I will order lasagna. I will order meatballs. Now, the lasagna is about 2 meals in itself, and it is delicious. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about pizza. And if you can order the seafood pizza at Roseland, it is market price. That is okay. It is worth every penny.
I mean,
Fresh seafood. Oh my God. It's wonderful.
is it like $75?
Probably. I mean, it's to the point where I don't even think about it. You just get it. And it's, if you have 2 pieces of it, you'll be full. But this is the other thing. You can take it home with you. It's good cold. You can take it home with you. You can reheat it.
Soggy
And it's even
crust.
better. No. It's a white crust pizza. It's a white crust seafood pizza.
So it's super. The undercarriage is durable to support all this massive amounts of alleged seafood that they're putting on it.
It is, but it's still New Haven style. It's still crispy. It's still got that thin crust. It's have you never had it? You're a Roselands person.
I am a Roseland person. I had never had seafood people around me. I love seafood,
Oh,
but
you gotta have it.
but
We'll
if
go there someday. We'll have it.
me and you. So here's my problem with Roseland. So I go with their meatball and onion, sausage and onion. They're all great. It's just great. But the problem is I waited an hour. I don't want to deal with that. Like I have a big problem with waiting that long. Though if I have to sign up for an hour wait, I'm going to go to your pizza establishment less and expect more. But no, it's great. When we're talking about all these, it's not like one stinks. So this is just universal. And yes, all of these, honestly, as I start to go to them more, my positions are going to change on them. So really, you can't even rank five because I mean they can really rival. I told the bar guy because I'm a dumb tourist. I was like, I don't know why people aren't talking about you guys in the big three. I'm like, I just put you above Pepe's right now. And the dude was real nice. He's like 19-year-old kid. He's like, dude, I know, man, that pizza's fire. I'm like, oh, it is fire. Anyways, and my number one is Modern. I went there for the first time a year ago. The last time there was a Yale Columbia game, so every time I watch Avery play after the game, I try pizza, and I went with Modern, and it was you know a delightful. It was a delightful experience. It was heaven in my mouth. It was loads of cheese. I liked the crust, the thicker crust. It wasn't super floppy. It was fresh as shit. I only waited 10 minutes. I bought a whatever overpriced beer. At least I'm got my beer flowing. While I'm waiting. Um, the price was good. The pizza was great. Uh, and it moved into my number one position. You?
The standard is the standard. It's Pepe's. It'll always be. It just absolutely has to be. And I will say this: I'm sensing a recurring theme throughout your list. I think you're doing the entire experience wrong, and I'll tell you why. And from a strength and conditioning, sports performance perspective, and as a 2 week pizza only eater, I think I am the absolute expert on this subject. You want to go in the afternoon. I'm talking 2 o'clock. I'm talking 3 o'clock. There's not going to be a soul in the place. There's not a wait. It is beautiful. You go in there, you eat a whole fucking pizza by yourself. It doesn't matter. You just house the thing. And then you just don't eat carbs for the rest of the day. You have a steak for dinner at like 8 p.m. It is what it is. And you just take a nap, when you get back home. Wake up, eat a steak, go back to bed. It's beautiful. Roselands, you go there 15 minutes after it opens at like 2. Oh, those are the times, because then you just order everything. Everything's fresh, and there's no wait, because it's not about when you want to experience the food, right? It's not about, oh, like, it's dinner time, let's go eat. You want to get the best. You want to get the just everyone's not there. Just like a private experience, just go right when it opens.
Well, that doesn't work into my schedule all the time, so it's hard for me to reprogram. I got a coach at 3 o'clock, so you're giving
Yeah,
me. I got
yep.
to get there at 2 the minute that it opens, and then get all the food. I'm on a time crunch, so for me, I'm going whatever weekends later at night. The moral of the story is they're all great. Connecticut has great pizza, and you could really flip. There's one more I want to add that's not on the list, and that's Zupardi's West Haven. I guarantee you it's probably going to make this list soon, but I've only had the frozen one, which is delightful. You can buy the frozen ones. Um, but a frozen pizza ain't going to compare to sitting in there in house. So Zupardi's in West Haven. You are my next. I feel like I almost can't accurately create a top five list without them, but I have a big feeling because I'm a sausage guy, and I believe their sausage. That's what they're kind of known for. I will say with Pepe's, the white clam pizza, fantastic.
Well,
Um,
that's the signature.
and I don't like clams, so and I mean Pepe's is good. Here's the problem: Pepe's was my number one. The problem is I don't think I've eaten it in New Haven recently enough. I'm getting my taste buds are changing. Casino, Fairfield.
The
I mean,
Fairfield one holds up.
Waterbury's like something crazy. I don't even remember what city I was in. Then like my in-laws will bring it in, but it'll be like delivered from New Haven to New York, hour and a half in a box. So I'll go back in. We really should do a pizza tour, but this is way too way too long, and I can't believe we dragged this shit all the way through just to talk about some pizza.
I bang, 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 bang mine. I had a little soliloquy to McGowan's in the beginning, but that was it. I kept it moving.
Soliloquy, good word. All
Thank
right,
you.
so before we talk about, I don't know, should track be your second sport, which is the reason why we're together tonight at 9:30 at night. I want to go over some housekeeping offers. It wouldn't be a podcast without bringing up more offers. So when people do great things, we're going to talk about them. Number one, I feel like we went over Q1, Quavier's commitment to Northwestern, his signing day. We covered that, right?
Yes, we did. Shout out Q1.
And we all know that the world loves brothers and sisters that play high level sports. So we have his brother, Q2, Keanu. He just got offers from Penn State. The Penn State offer, it was cool because we did the camp season. We prepared. Go ahead and listen to the camp podcast on how to plan your camps out. And we did, well, the camp thing got derailed in the beginning because he went to a couple camps that he shouldn't have, like LSU, where he was guaranteed not going to get an offer. But he ended up, we shut it down. We did the camps in early June. He killed it. He ran a 4.38, 4.41, 4.44 range during all the Hamden Hall combines. We were able to shut it down. He had a full month to take off. And then his last camp of the season was the Penn State camp. And here's the thing. He caught 12 balls the prior year. So there wasn't a lot out on him. Nobody knew about him. So it's hard for Penn State to make a commitment on a guy who's caught 12 balls in his high school career. But what he did is he ran a 4.41 and showed out. And they obviously liked his speed. And then the season played out. He had 20 touchdowns. And he killed it and got offensive conference player of the year and a bunch of accolades. So it's like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm fast and I'm good at football. So he landed that with Nebraska, who was at those Hamden Hall combines in Syracuse in the spring. And he has Boston College, UConn. So he's built himself and a couple others. So he's got around 8 offers. And once you get, the Penn State, that's huge. So we could potentially see Q1 versus Q2, which would be the NES tailgate of the year if for some reason he chooses Penn State. But great things are happening. And he was recently on the Instagram story, came back in 7 weeks, already gained like 9 pounds, looking massive. He's going to be 200, potentially running in the 4.3s at 200 now. He's over 6 feet, almost 6'1". So he's really developing, working his ass off. Literally, they win a ring with, 5 days later, I make the kids take like a week off. And he's back at it working. So, and his brother's back at it working. So imagine that. If you work really hard, good things happen for you. So one thing this kid didn't do is he didn't do track. So he did NES. So the topic that we're going to go over today is, should you do track as your second sport? It's a very common thing, definitely in the 60s, back in the caveman days. And the concept was, if you're a football player, you should go do track, and track's going to make you faster and better at football. And if you're a lineman, you should be a thrower. Keep in mind, track was my main sport in high school. So all of this shit talking that I'm going to be doing about track obviously it's not really a biased opinion because it was my main sport. I loved it. I thought I was going to be in the Olympics. Obviously, everything got derailed, and I am a has been that never made it, but I've always been a big fan of it. And I do think for some people, it is a good idea. And I'm going to tell you if you fall into these categories we're going to talk about. So there's people that should do it and there's people that shouldn't do it. So why do people do it, Dante? What is the reason? What is the simplest reason that people say?
Well, I probably to get faster. I know that's why I tried to do track for a season. I did it to get faster. Well, I
There,
also did it because I was concussed and wasn't cleared to play basketball because it was contact sport.
boy, there's always some complicated ass fucking backstory on your shit. It's just never, it's always like 7 different ways of fucked with you. But yes, Dante, the answer is to make you faster. So here's the answer. By doing track as your second sport, will it make you faster? And the answer is yes, it'll make you a little bit faster. So the problem is everybody just cuts it right there and now it's over. And it's you need to do track. It's the best thing to do is your second sport. It's going to make you faster. And then, but there's more to it than that. All I'm trying to do today is deliver some things to think about before you decide to make track. I get really mad. I take it defensive. I get in fights with kids. This girl that I train, she ain't listening to this podcast, even though I'm going to tell her to listen to it. She is specifically a soccer player and she had reoccurring hamstring injuries. And this is a little bit veer off into a different topic, but it was, I got to play basketball. It was trying to do multiple sports. And she basically would get into soccer season, hurt her hamstrings because she was overtrained, play on the hurt hamstring, not show well because you're playing. She's checked every box in every podcast of anything that I said not to do. Wonderful girl, works hard, just the greatest human alive. But the decision-making process is just tainted. So after these repetitive hamstring strains, I'm like, you got to shut it down. You need an off season. And get yourself healthy. You need to go to physical therapy. You need to fix this. And she wouldn't shut it down. And then eventually, all right, after all those hamstrings, if you're not going to shut it down, what is the body going to do? It's going to ramp up the injury that you get. Torn hip, which started because of repetitive hamstrings that were not treated by physical therapists and severe overtraining. It's like, okay, well, if that doesn't work, and then you start to compensate and different muscles are being activated and used to do things that they're not supposed to, and before you know it, now you got hip labral surgery and your soccer career is potentially over. You can get faster by running track, but the process of doing that is breaking and your body down. So repeated max effort and near max effort sprinting puts a lot of stress on the body. The way that track can make most kids faster when they go in there is not that they're really teaching them how to run, because most track coaches, although it's getting better, because I have D1 track athletes that I train, I had D1 track athletes that were my coaches, and I taught them my system, which was different than what they learned in college. And my coaches became higher level track athletes doing my program instead of their college strength and conditioning program. And a lot of them have taken coaching jobs and are using my material to change the approach of what track is, which is the way we're going to make you faster is you're going to run, 10 200s and fucking 8 400s and, all of this volume. And even within track, you have to look at, if you're a distance runner, you're just sinking your career. I got guys that want to play football and do cross country. Cross country is all type 1 twitch muscle fiber. You're just going to turn into a slow twitchy blob. It's completely working against each other. And I'm not going to go into that, but you running, the 1600 or the 800 isn't going to impact your 40 time that much. But the way that you do it is running. You want to jump higher, jump. You want to run faster, run. So repeated sprints, no matter what they look like, or you're going to get a response from it and you're going to get faster. But in order to do that, you have to put a lot of wear and tear on the body. When a track athlete is in their in season, there's no monitoring training volume. The only reason that it is monitored is for them to peak for their events. So and typically if you do track, you are doing stuff to prepare for track. Whereas if you're coming from another sport, there is some things that you're missing. So because you're beating your ass up and running all the time, you are getting faster, but what is it doing to your body? And this is what I want to kind of go over is you are losing strength. This is not netology, this is fact. By running all the time and doing all of this running is catabolic, strength and building is anabolic. So when you are trying to address something like gaining weight or getting stronger or getting faster, strength is generally a component of that. If you are in your in season for track, you really can't lift, and the most you can lift is more of a maintenance. Now, there's an exception. Put an asterisk. If you are a thrower, I'm okay with throwers as long as they don't do what my high school coach did, which was everybody's got to run 3 miles before practice. Why? I'm in a ring for a living. I am in a 7-foot circle. Please tell me how running 3 miles applies to this. Oh, are you saying that I need to lose weight? You're saying that you want me to lower my body fat percentage. Can you at least tell me that's the reason why instead of telling me it's going to make you a better thrower? With that being said, strength is lost. And strength long term is a component that you need to improve at your sport, whatever it is. Because it's catabolic, you're burning lean mass. The more you run, the more lean mass you're burning. So if you are a weight gain athlete and you go do track, you will not gain weight. You will lose weight. And you will lose weight until track is over, which is June. It will decrease your timetable to prepare for August if you are a football player. And you will spend June to August not putting on new weight, but putting on the weight that you lost. So unless you're the perfect weight, you are leaving things on the back end, and you're not going to get and reach these metrics that are necessary for the other sports to be able to get your scholarship. Central nervous system fatigue. Running and sprinting and jumping, they're high neural activities. They exhaust the brain and the central nervous system. There's different types of overtraining. Your brain can be overtrained and your body can be overtrained. So musculoskeletal overtraining is your strength decreasing and your ability to recover from muscle soreness. Like it's taking 5 days to recover instead of 2. But there's also overtraining the brain and doing repetitive high neural things over and over that can get fatigued. And when that gets fatigued, a lot of times you need more than one neuro or muscular overtraining. You can typically recover in a week or 2, but extreme CNS fatigue can take you out months if you're trying to do all this stuff and become a better football player. How about this? You're increasing the risk of injury. Hamstring strains completely common. My girls right now, I have a girl at Merrimack, Hunter, who's also one of our assistant coaches, and Amanda, who's one of our assistant coaches. She's running at Wheaton, about to transfer. They already know. I get a video of Hunter, and there's a mountain of snow in the background. She's at Merrimack. I have no clue where Merrimack is, but it's probably like 3 hours north, somewhere cold. So is that ideal running standards? So how there's a risk of injury risk because they're coming off a break. Now we've been training in the break, but because it's the Northeast and it's fucking 0 degrees, her ability to get outside is more difficult. Because you're overtrained, because you're doing all these things, just tissue injuries are a thing. So once you pull your hamstring, your accolades and benefits of track start to go down, and now you're hurt. Now you have a bigger problem. Injury in your second sport is a killer. I had a kid that was a basketball player and he decided to get cute and play football. What do you think happened 3 days in? Broke his wrist. So how is he able to develop his skills as a basketball player without his wrist? Wrists are important to shoot a basketball. We're not playing punch ball. We're not playing hammer ball. We're playing basketball that requires your wrists. So ultimately, how do you think his season is going right now? Probably not as good as it was if he didn't try to get cute and play football. And it's the same thing with track, because once you get a hammy, hammies are they're my worst nightmare, because it's like they're always hanging out. They're there. They cannot bother you. It gets in your head. There's the post-hammy freak out. And they're reoccurring. You have to get them treated with physical therapy. Most people don't do that, and they don't break up the scar tissue, and then they keep tweaking them again. So, and you can go. I had a guy, Cassetti. He ended up tweaking his hamstring finally. Never had an injury in his life, and whatever. It's usually malpractice on the performance, strength, conditioning, or football coaches. But whatever he did, he tweaked it, and then because he never had one, there's another layer of anxiety. It takes athletes who've never had an injury before. There's more of a psychological component, and it fucks with their head more, because you're the perfect guy. You get injured, it's like you've been injured so much and you have so much shit. It's like, yeah, I'm good, I'm all right. And like your ability to come back, if you are a chronic injury guy, not that you're a chronic, but you've been through it. So Dante tweaked his elbow, and it took time for him to overcome. So there's the whole psychological stuff, and injury. It's honestly it's my biggest worry, and I see it over and over and over again. So one of your former teammate, the way that I met Sharif, I don't remember if it was when I started with him, whether it was 8th grade or 9th grade. But, this is all that I heard. This kid is a freak, genetic freak. It's ridiculous, but he's hurt all the time. So it's like, how many games you played this year? 4. How many yards did you have? 1,000. How many touchdowns? 17. Yards per carry? 14. You only played 4 games. Hamstring. So, he came in at like 170, and part of what we had to do is we want to be a D1 football player. So genetic freaks, like Q1 and Q2, respond crazy from training, and the kid went from 172 to 205, and then he goes out there and does track, hamstring, and I'm like, dude, we're done with him. We're done with track. I'm like, you're gonna be fine. We're gonna not do track, and you're gonna be fast enough, and you're not gonna have the hamstring problems. And good family, and they believe me, and they're like, all right, we're done with track. No more hamstrings. Fixed it. And then because he was able to put together a full season and a resume, and the camp, well, no, he didn't do track. What are we gonna do? What about his 40? Yeah, he ran a fucking 4.62 at 215 pounds, and he got his full ride at BC. Hamstrings, track, and that's one example. I've been doing this for 20 years. There's 20 cases of hamstrings and track. They don't teach people how to run the right way. It's too much volume. It's too much on the body. It breaks them down. It's counterproductive to what we're trying to do. Come on, people. Then you got the bad habit component. Who is the track coach? What makes him certified to make people faster? You know how hard it is to make people faster? It's fucking hard. Really hard. Even with really good people, freak athletes, still hard. But there's like a million of them. There's fucking 300 schools. There's 300 track guys. They're all track. It is getting better. It's still not where it needs to be. You lose mobility. You run and run and run and run. It starts to change your gait. Are you doing all the extra mobility and flexibility work and tissue work that you need to keep your muscles at the appropriate length and tension? Probably not. And it also takes time away from specific skill training. So if you are doing track practice for 3 hours a day, 6 days a week, that means you might not be going to the quarterback coach as much, or your wide receiver coach, or you're not doing performance training, or you're not in the weight room lifting, or you're trying to lift while you do track. and that added training volume, because you're like, I'll do both, and then you get hurt, you're going to get even more hurt, and you're going to get even more tight, you're going to overtrain, you're going to have something worse. You can't do that. You can't do two at one time. Thoughts?
Yeah. Uh, I did track, obviously, already said that, goal to get faster. And I told the track coach that they put me in the 1600, did not get faster. The training was just run 90 minutes, 2 hours a day, just outside in the winter. It was terrible. And the meets were 4 or 5 hours. So you'd see people just sitting around all the time, not warming up. Comes time for their meet, they're like, "Oh crap, I forgot I was coming up." They don't stretch. They go out. They pull something. They're toasted. Now I did finish second in a race once, uh, and I may or may not have cut the laps required by one when I finished second, but I still finished second. So you know, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Also, I pulled my hamstring once pitching when I was like in seventh or eighth grade. Uh, didn't pull my hamstring after that though, so I got lucky. But I did go to a chiropractor and did the whole break up the scar tissue, like get in there. It was brutal. It was painful stuff. It's not fun.
I can't believe you skipped a whole lap and snuck in like a bad, you know, TV show.
The kid next to me who came in first he's the reason why, because he like saw me out of the corner of his eye, even though he, you know, essentially it kind of almost lapped me, and started like spurting like I was in second, and I was like, "Yeah, if you believe, I believe. We can all believe. This
He
is where I'm
helped.
supposed to
He
be."
he helped you sell it. That's great.
Oh yeah, I almost finished in first.
All right, so I believe I've made a pretty compelling case on why track is a bad idea. I can do the same thing in house and fix all the other problems and get the end result and put you in a better position than if you go do track. Now, this is where I get to be super diplomatic and say track is great for some people. Now I'm going to talk about candidates for track for your second sport. Number one, if you're young, if you're 14 years old or younger, you should play multiple sports. They will benefit the most from track. Part of the problem why people are so unathletic and slow is they are not running and sprinting as much because they don't do any relevant shit in gym class. And there are benefits, loading and coordination and fundamentals, especially if you could find somebody to just teach basic stuff. You're going to get the most bang for your buck if you're 14 and under. So if you are a kid, go do track. Please go do another sport. If you're lazy, good news. If you're lazy, you will not make use of your time in house and you'll have minimal benefits. Go do track because you can have somebody motivate you. They get paid $4,000 a year to go bark at you and fuel their ego, and they will make you go to late and they'll punish you if you're late. You can get free self motivation. So if you're lazy, you should try track. If you don't want to play sports in college, some people don't have the desire to play competitively in college. You know what you should do? You should go do some track. If you're poor, I mean, we're all feeling the economy right now. It's not in good shape. I get it. So when I initially wrote that, I was like, if you're poor, you should do track. And then I was like, no, fuck that. That's not the answer. Because I'm training some poor motherfuckers right now. And they're figuring the fuck out how to get in there and train. And they're doing it the right way. So I'm not going to say, if you're poor, maybe you should do track. But yeah, if you're poor and you don't know anybody and you can't get in there, then maybe you should do track. Because you don't have the money to do other things. And if you are a troubled kid or you have a hard time, if you're a follower and not a leader, be part of a team. There's a whole social component of being on a track team that would be great for you. But the big takeaway is if you're 14 years or younger, I encourage you to play as many sports as possible. if you're in high school and are doing the same thing that you're doing, you're losing a competitive advantage. If you are doing track as a sophomore, junior in high school, you are not preparing yourself. There's other guys outworking you while you're out there losing strength, losing weight, increasing your risk of injury, getting a little bit faster, but it doesn't matter because you're sacrificing the weight that you're losing and the strength. And there are all of these things. I'm laughing at you because you're what allows my kids to dominate you. You're playing all those sports in high school. My kids are training, they're seniors committed, and they're training, and who are my freshmen? Freshman of the week, Rain Durant. Last week, Avani. Freshmen that are walking in and starting. You know why? Because they didn't play multiple sports. They went into college game ready, and that's all they did. Off season, get better at your sport, train and develop, rest and repeat. So you track people are making my kids are running faster because y'all doing it wrong, and my kids are out there playing minutes as freshmen in college because y'all are playing basketball or track for your final ride through high school. So that's my take on it.
Yeah. I think the other big thing maybe we didn't touch on, I might have a follow-up question. I might have forgotten it as I opened my mouth to speak. But there's only one time I can actually remember in my entire football career after I played, playing quarterback, um, where I could only walk after this like one season. It was my junior season in high school. Every other season, I had trouble walking for an extended period of time due to football injuries. In my sophomore year, I tried playing basketball and I hurt my ankle. I wound up doing something weird to my Achilles, and I had to be in a walking boot for like 2 months and then shelved for like another 2. So it's like you can really, your body takes a beating when just doing one sport, and then usually track is in a weird spot where you're just coming right off of your sport or you're about to go into a sport. So it's really just a tough strain to put on your body.
When you do football, you leave football December 15th and you're right into indoor. Because what track is there's if you have to play 2 sports, there's specific sports that are worse than others, and your longest sport is your worst sport. So something like basketball, my football players are getting hounded while they're still playing football to go to basketball practice. So that you literally, I mean, it's not an analogy. You need to take a week or 2 weeks off after every sports season. Nobody will dismiss or deny this. Then with a slow reacclimation back, and these guys just jump one right into the other. And then that goes from November to March. Do the math. Football starts in August and football ends in December, and basketball is going on in December, and basketball goes all the way up till April. So you are spending August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March. You're spending 8.5 months nonstop every day, 6 days a week, 3 hours a day compiled, and now you're spit out in April. And then you have April, May, June, July. And really once now you have 2 sports, that means that's guaranteed you have to take 2 weeks off because you went for fucking 8 months straight. So now you have to take 2 weeks off. So really April, and then you got to reacclimate to training, because the best way to get hurt is to go from taking 2 weeks off and doing absolutely nothing, because I can't control. I give them guidelines on what to do when they leave, but they should be active, but not doing anything, not touching a weight, not biking, CNS stim, hiking, biking, tennis, off sports, golf, things like that. And then you're right into it. So now it's May. So here's the thing. Camp season starts June 1st. What do?
Yeah.
You have you just train for a month? Who's going to do better? my cats that have 6 months under their belt, or you that's got a month. You're in shape though. That's the good news from all that track. So you're ready to fucking play a game. Oh, you're not playing games. It's a track meet. Now it's the real track meet. And you got to run a 40 real fast. But
And
you're hurt and you're tired and you're overtrained. And you're going to be evaluated. One kid I didn't bring up, Chenna, the kicker, who had no film and had two D3 offers by never having any film, and just got a Georgetown offer off of 40 because they were there when he ran the 4.53. That's how he got the Georgetown offer. But he wouldn't have ran a 4.53 if he was doing any sport in the spring. He would have ran a 4.7 at 160. Yeah.
yeah, that's not going to get you offered. I went into football and basketball. Was not a great decision. Probably would not have done it again. I was a weird kid. Basketball is my favorite sport. So there's a huge personal connection there for me. But even my last year, I took 2 weeks off. I said I wasn't going to play. Kind of just couldn't leave it alone, got back into it. But weird things happen too. Sometimes you play that second sport and you like get out of shape. You know, you gain a little weight, or you know, you're just not able to do the stuff you're supposed to do. You could also be an absolute weirdo, and like I would do basketball practice and then I'd go do the football, you know, lift and workout and stuff, and then, you know, fall asleep on the car ride home. Like you get the little shaking in traffic, get jolted back up, oh, you made it into your driveway, you're good for the night. But
Great. So just some bullet points and some things to think about before you decide to go do track, because you're not getting bigger, faster, stronger. I mean, you're not getting bigger or stronger and only getting a little bit faster, but it's a whole bunch of risk for a little reward. I don't like high risk, little reward. I like safety. So,
safety's good. Safety number one.
yeah.